Alright, so now I'm going to show you how to make letters just like these. Really easy, iron on. There's no stitching, although you can add that if you'd like. So the first thing you want to do is just get two different fabrics, usually a pattern and a solid, that complement each other. There's yellow here that matches some of the yellow in here. So just grab any two. You can get the pre-packaged quarters that you can get at, any fabric store, or you can get it by the yard, which happens to be a little bit cheaper. Next, you want to get some sort of iron-on fabric. This is a no-sew heat and bond. You just iron it onto the backs, and I'll show you that in a second. And then it'll adhere to whatever shirt you use. There's directions on the back. So the next thing you want to do is measure out your iron-on. One side is bumpy. You can kind of see the texture on it. The other side is just like normal paper. So you'll measure it out and just cut it so it's the same size as your fabric. So what you'll also need is stencils for your letters. These are mine. I just used an old file folder. And you can either print out letters or trace a pair that you already have and just cut them out, and then you'll need to trace these letters onto your fabric like I've done here. Now, I like to make sure that they fit really, really close so I can use as little fabric as possible. One tricky thing, the alphas and the taws can be, flipped over. It doesn't matter which way. But if you're using a specific type of fabric, it doesn't really matter with this type of pattern. But if you're using one that has to be a specific way, you want to make sure that you flip letters like sigma or gamma so that it looks backwards here, but when you flip the fabric over, it'll be the right way. So now that all of my letters are cut out, I'm making 3 sets of letters. You can use scissors to cut them out. Make sure that you get a brand new pair of scissors, because they don't necessarily have to be branded as fabric scissors, but if they're brand new and you haven't used them on anything else, they'll be sharp enough to cut straight through the fabric. If you use dull scissors, you'll get frays like this here, but nice sharp scissors will keep it nice and flat, especially with the iron-on it. So I've cut out one set of the letters on our pattern fabric. Now, the next thing we need to do is to iron out the solid fabric that's going underneath, because you don't want all those wrinkles. So, back to my other letters, you can see I don't really cut that large of an outline around here. Some people like to do a thicker outline, but I like to keep it nice and close. So in a second I'll show you how I do this. So I'm just going to show you with the alpha and the taw first. You want to cut a piece of the iron-on just bigger than your letters. So we're going to take these off. Remember the textured bumpy side goes against your fabric. Now since this is solid, it doesn't matter which side you put it on. So you just put it on your fabric and then you iron it on. So now it's ironed on. Now you just need to cut this piece out to make it a little bit easier. Here's that ironed on piece, and you just want to flip that over. Make sure that there's nothing on it, no spare threads. And on the back of these is the paper from the iron-on that you can just peel off. Now you'll see, once you peel that off, it's really thin, and there is now a shiny, kind of slippery side to the back of your fabric. That's the iron-on. So we'll place our letters. Oh. If I can peel this off with one hand. There we go. So there's that shiny side again. place it on and make sure there's room along the edge here and here, and there's room in between your letters. Maybe move this one down a little and this one up a little. Then you'll iron those on, and then we'll start to cut. So what I've done now is just cut them away from each other like a bubble cut. And what you want to do, you got to be really careful and go slow with this, and this is where the sharpness of your scissors really comes in handy, is you just cut around how thick you'd like them. It's all about preference. Just make sure you have enough room around them when you decide how thick you want them to be. So here's about halfway through. I've just gone through with my scissors and cut around the edge. I mean, they're not exactly perfect. There are spots that are a little bit closer, but that's to be expected when you're doing hand cutting. So here's what it'll look like against another color. I think it looks pretty cool so far. So here they are, all nice and pretty and cut out. So all you gotta do is peel the backs off again and place them on whatever color shirt you want. So here they are on my new white shirt. I ironed out the shirt first to make sure there's no bumps in the way. And what I like to do is place the center letter first. It's really easy when you have a V-neck like this. So you place the center letter and then place the other two on either side. Then you iron it and you're all set.